The phone vibrated once, then again. Then it didn't stop. 71 missed calls burn a hole into the screen like a confession that won't stay buried. It started with a single message. "If you want to join Thanksgiving, come wash the dishes." My daughter-in-law's voice note was sharp, casual cruelty, the kind that assumes permanence, the kind that believes I still belong beneath someone else's table. I replied with one word: enjoy. Then I posted the photos. The villa first, white stone cutting into the Swiss mountains like a blade, floor-to-ceiling glass, snow caught mid-fall. My hand in the reflection, steady, unshaking, expensive. Then the car, then the balcony. Silence followed. Exactly 43 seconds later, my phone exploded. Names I hadn't seen in years, numbers I'd deleted. Her name blinking again and again like a pulse trying to resurrect itself. 13 years. That's how long it took for her to remember I existed. That's how long she needed before she came back with the child she hid. I didn't answer. I poured a drink, watched the Alps hold their breath outside my window. Revenge doesn't rush, it waits. She appeared 2 weeks later, unannounced, standing in the lobby of my Zurich office like a memory that refused to age properly. Same eyes, same practiced fragility, different confidence. There was a boy beside her, 13, tall for his age. My jawline, my hands. She smiled like this was fate, like time had forgiven her. "I didn't know how to find you," she said softly, a lie wrapped in silk. I didn't invite her to sit. I didn't ask why she was here. I didn't look at the child. Inside, something old and corrosive began to stir. 13 years ago, she vanished the night I asked questions. Bank accounts drained, apartment empty, a note written with carelessness that still insults me. I need freedom. Not truth, not courage, freedom. Now she stood in front of me with evidence she'd kept hidden, like leverage. "He's yours," she said. Not emotionally, legally, strategically. She waited for my face to crack. It didn't. I watched her fingers tremble instead. I noticed how she positioned the boys slightly forward, shield and weapon at once. How she said nothing about the man she married 3 years after leaving me. How she avoided timelines. I felt no joy, no anger, only calculation. Because if the child was mine, then everything she built was standing on a lie. I played my role, concerned, reserved, silent. I asked polite questions, school, interests, health, nothing about the past, nothing about money. She mistook restraint for weakness. That's always been her flaw. At night, I moved. Private labs, quiet calls, old favors collected with interest, a DNA sample obtained without drama, hair from a jacket, consent signed under the pretense of medical curiosity. I watched numbers instead of faces. Dates didn't align. Her marriage certificate came before the boy's birth by 6 months. Phone records showed calls to another man during the month she claimed we were trying. Transfers traced back to accounts I once funded. She hadn't just lied, she'd engineered. Every night I sat alone in the villa, listening to silence press against the glass. I imagined the boy's life, the lies folded into bedtime stories, the man raising him, unknowing, proud, disposable. I didn't hate her. Hate is loud. I was past that. I was precise. When the lab called, I let it ring twice, just enough to feel the weight. The report was thin, decisive, 0.00% probability. I read it once, then again, not because I doubted it, because certainty is a luxury. I invited her for coffee, neutral ground, public, clean. She talked too much, about reconciliation, about the boy needing stability, about destiny correcting itself. I slid the envelope across the table. No speech, no accusation, just paper. Her hands shook as she opened it. The color drained from her face in stages. Denial first, then panic, then something like mourning. "That's impossible," she whispered. I sipped my coffee. "It's science," I said. She cried quietly, controlled, as if grief were another performance. People nearby pretended not to see. I leaned in. "You didn't come back for me," I said calmly. You came back because you thought I was useful again." She looked up. I held her gaze. "And now, you know," I continued, "that I'm dangerous instead."
I didn't stop there. Revenge isn't about exposure, it's about collapse. I sent the report anonymously to her husband, included timelines, included transfers, included messages she'd forgotten existed. I filed no lawsuits, I made no threats, I let truth do the damage. A week later, she called, screaming, begging, bargaining. Her marriage was dissolving, her perfect life cracking under scrutiny. The boy was asking questions she couldn't answer. "I was afraid," she sobbed. I listened, then I spoke. "You were greedy," I corrected. "Fear is what you feel now." She asked for help, money, silence, forgiveness. I gave her none. "I built my life without you," I said. "You don't get to survive by borrowing it." I ended the call, blocked the number. The Alps outside my window didn't react. Neither did I. Weeks passed. The call stopped. The noise faded. I never met the boy again. Some things are better left untouched. Blood doesn't create obligation. Truth doesn't demand rescue. On Thanksgiving, I ate alone. Silver cutlery, white linen, no shouting, no dishes. I raised my glass to the window, to distance, to clarity, to the quiet satisfaction of watching a lie starve when no one feeds it anymore. She thought returning with a secret would bind me. Instead, it freed me completely. And that is the most brutal revenge of all.